Lakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukum karoti vachalam, pangam langayate girim. Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, sorry. Kids. So I'll share my screen. I'm just going to open the PowerPoint and we will share the screen. Give me 1 second. We are starting a new section today, 17 to 30. So let me share my screen. Let me add. Why it's not showing up there? Give me 1 second. I'll add more screen. Yeah. Screen mirroring. Maybe it's on a different network, looks like. Hare Krishna. This is important. Give me 1 second. I just want to see what network I'm connected to. Okay. Otherwise, let me connect with the HDMI cable. Hare Krishna. Sorry for the technical difficulty. There is a PowerPoint which I want to do. You are okay? Yeah. Sorry. It just. Let's go on to show. Haribol. I just don't only see the screen altogether. I don't have a password for this one. Let me see if I can connect to another Wi-Fi. It shows guest here. Or maybe let's just read it from there. I won't be able to present it today. Sorry. Wonderful. So we are covering from text 17 to text 30 here. Can you all online hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry, there is a lot of background noise. So yeah, so we are covering text 17 to 30. Maybe at least I can present it here, and then we can take it from here. So I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. So text 17 to text 30, that's what we are covering. We have been talking about the chapter third, which is Karma Yoga. Now, when we talk about Karma Yoga, there are two sections in that. Arjuna is confused which route to take. So Krishna is recommending for him to do Karma Yoga. However, he is thinking the renunciation is better. Whenever difficulties come, it is easier to escape because I don't have to do much about it. I can just run away from that. But Arjuna, being a devotee of Krishna, Krishna doesn't recommend him because he's recommending him, if you go to the forest, that's the renunciation path, there is a certain qualification needed to go that route. If someone wants to renounce something, leaving the material world, his mind should be capable enough to actually take care of the situation that way. And we talked about couple of verses from there. I wish I would have shown the presentation because I created something based on that. So, when someone is not qualified to live alone, they carry the senses with them. And when they carry senses with them, the tendency is to again indulge into those sensual activities, which is what the problem is. So, it's like in Hindi, there is a saying, Dhobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka, which is you can't be here, you can't be here. You renounce everything, you wanted to run away, but you can't do that. So, Krishna said, no, you have to continue doing karma yoga. And now, when we think about karma yoga, there is a tendency that whatever activity I do, whatever fruit comes out of it, I want to participate that. Like for an example, you see in the temples also, when the people donate, they want their names to be shown outside or certain as so there is name, fame, glories people always expect from that perspective, right? So now Krishna is going to the second aspect, which is nishkama karma yoga. Nishkama means I have no expectation from what am I doing, and that's the higher version of karma yoga. That is what is being discussed in this. So in this section the title is be detached yet dutiful for setting an example. So couple of last verses we covered about that when one perform Krishna consciousness activity, he does not have to perform other yajna. We have been talking about performing yajna for other devatas, because when we do that, we fulfill the whole cycle of this thing. But we also discussed saying that a bhakti yogi doesn't have to do that. When I came to Krishna consciousness, when I started understanding these statements, the tendency of the mind is that, oh, now I'm great. I don't have to do these things. Like for an example, you don't have to do demigod worship, which does not mean that you do not respect Devata. So when I would go and pass other Devata's temple, I would not even bow down. This is sinful. Because what is the real meaning of Krishna consciousness is being grateful to everyone and every situation in our life. That is a very important substance which we need to understand from that perspective. So though now we understand from scriptural perspectives that these devatas are not supreme, which is understood, but that does not mean they do not deserve the respect, which is very important. A Vaishnava or a person who is bhakti yoga, practicing bhakti yoga, or performing Krishna consciousness, his responsibility is even to offer the obeisances to a dog. Now, dog has nothing to understand from that perspective, but he sees, because every living entity has a Paramatma within their heart. And the person who is Krishna conscious understand that aspect of life and now treat everything in his life in connection with God. Like for an example, when we come in the temple, we offer obeisances to Lord. But there is another thing which I heard in Krishna consciousness. We offer obeisances to even devotees. Now one may say, why would I offer that? Like I example about even offering the obeisance to a dog. Because the idea is we are not offering the obeisances to a dog, we are not offering obeisances to a person, we are offering the obeisances to the Paramatma within that heart. Because God, we have soul and super soul, which we covered in second chapter, which is living in everybody's heart. We talked about two parrots on the same tree. So same concept. So when Paramatma is within the heart of someone, I am offering that obeisances to Paramatma. So, what does it mean? In every relationship, in every dealing in this world, we need to be mindful there is the same Paramatma within the heart of the other living entity as well. So that's the point which I wanted to bring. So that's where text 3.17 starts. So I'm going to skip the structure of Bhagavad Gita, which is I need PowerPoint and I wanted to actually show it on the TV. So I'm going to skip this and we will go to the next slide, which is this section of 3.17 to 3.35. So what is the this is section 4 of chapter 3, which is talking about practical application of this section, which is a person we spoke about is a person who is in full knowledge is above material attachment, whether it is material or spiritual. Oh, you are able to see the screen. Wonderful. Should I cover then the previous slide? Will that be okay? Okay, sorry. I just this is a very beautiful one. I shared the video on that and I just prepared from there so that we understand what is the structure of Bhagavad Gita. Can you see it? Online, you are able to see structure of Bhagavad Gita slide.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Beautiful. So we are on Karma Yoga. Now the question may come in, is that okay? We are able to see it. Question may come in is hold on. Arjuna is in Mahabharat war field. He doesn't know what has to be done. Where is Karma Yoga coming into the picture? So now what we are going to see is the overall structure of Bhagavad Gita. We are at a particular part of the whole structure, but you'll be able to visualize. You are able to see it? Yeah. Should I resume? So Arjuna is confused about whether he should fight or whether he shouldn't fight. Right? This is the confusion which arises from chapter 1 and Krishna spoke on chapter 2. So here is
There
the
is
third.
no noise, no voice.
You can't hear the voice. All other devotees, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Mataji, can you try to rejoin and see if you're able to hear us? Dimple Mataji, can you try that? Just try to join again and see if you can hear the voice. So Krishna is asking about there is path of action, which means the fight, and path of renunciation. Arjuna is thinking the path of action is lower because this is lower, and then path of renunciation is higher because I understand what is a higher purpose. However, what is Krishna's perspective on that side, which we are seeing on the right hand side? So, when we talk about the path of action, there are three categories in that. A person is doing an activity with the selfless nature, a person who is doing the activity with self servicing nature, and then the person is doing an activity which is self destructive. Now, this is very important. When we think about self servicing, which is karma kanda or punya, so there are any activity which we do, it has two consequences. One is papa or punya. Now we are describing self-servicing is not being selfish. That is a very important part which I want to bring in here. That's why I just use the word. It's use the word as self-servicing. Self-servicing means for their own favor, but at the same time not being mean of others and just doing things for themselves. So when I do something as per scripture, and which is providing the good future for me, that is say self-servicing. So from that perspective, it is kanda which is going to give me the punya. The second category, which is self-destructive, is basically I'm doing certain activity which is going to destroy my soul. We are not talking about destroying the body here, we are talking about destroying the soul, which is in this case vikarma, which is papa. So these are the two sections which we are very well aware of, right? Now the third one, which is what is so definitely the third one is not recommended. And what is the principle which is Krishna's setting up here is being selfless. When you be selfless, when you do things for others, even if there is a motive behind us saying that, I will get some punya, which is fine, depends on that. But you do it for a higher spiritual purpose. And slowly, slowly, you come to the plane of Nishkama Karma Yoga, where Now you understood, I don't want to be attached to the fruits either. Though I was receiving fruits and I was attached to the fruit, and now you start realizing, because when you get the fruit, which is the result of the activity, you will have to again take the birth. So now the person who gains the knowledge, he realizes, oh, this is a problem. Even I'm doing a good activity. I was not at that platform. I'm doing a good activity, but what is the result of that? I will have to again come back to reap the fruits of it. So when I perform certain activity, I can go to the higher planet. I can go to Swargaloka based on my punya. But that's also a problem because there is still a beginning and end date for that one. I don't want to get that. And that's where you actually become completely selfish and come to the platform of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So this is the section we are going to pitch in now. But just to cover that aspect, when we talk about selfless, there are two sections on that. One is the Karma Yoga and second is the Bhakti Yoga. Right now, the section we are on is Karma Yoga. But you will also see when we go into the Bhakti Yoga section, it will also bring in, you see, it's a sub branch of being selfless. So both are on that platform. So when we think about Karma Yoga, what is the outcome for that? It's moksha, which is getting out of cycle of birth and death, which is not bad, but there is something much more higher than that, which is receiving the seva or receiving the service of God. So being in different relationship with God. So in Karma Yoga, which is moksha, you come to the layer where you don't have to suffer. The bodily pain is not there, the birth and death is not there, but there is no engagement. You are with me so far? So when we talk about the Bhakti Yoga, the outcome of that what? We attain Krishna. When we attain Krishna, so what do we do there? So we can be a friend to Krishna, a parent to Krishna, we can be a servant to Krishna, or we can be a lover to Krishna. So there are different relationships which are possible when we do Bhakti Yoga, which are not possible at Karma Yoga. You're with me so far? Now think about the path of renunciation, and one part we already covered. There is a mature and there is a premature. I covered the premature briefly, which is what also going to give you papa, because your senses are not engaged. And when you renounce everything, the tendency is to engage into those sensual activities, again fall down and create the papa for yourself, right? Which is not again Krishna recommending. And from mature perspective, there is a Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. On chapter 6, we will actually explore Dhyana Yoga. Okay, so just laying out. And we will discuss this slide every time so that we understand how it is laid out. Right? And now, when we see Bhakti Yoga, what chapter does it cover? It is covering chapter 7 to 12. It's like a sandwich. There are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. First six is the first bread, and then the last six in between is the crux, which is Bhakti Yoga. So, which is 7 to 12, right? And then when we think about the self-servicing part, I should have kept it in sequence, but just to clarify, we already covered chapter 2, text 31 to 37, and 2.49, which is talking about how to do punya activity, right? And in chapter 6, we will cover 21 to 22, what is vikarma. We haven't started with that one. From premature perspective, this is a verse 5th and 6th which we covered, and where we gave multiple examples on that aspect. And from Karma Yoga is chapter 3 to 5. The destination is moksha for that one. So we are on that section. So we are on chapter 3, and we are on specific section called as self on the left hand side, the red one which is showing. Dhyana Yoga is going to be chapter 6, and Dhyana Yoga is going to be covered from 18.49 to 55. You're with me so far? This is the structure for understanding the bird's eye view. Where am I starting, and what is Krishna going to cover in Bhagavad Gita? Right? So when we see this, what we are saying is one who is full in knowledge is above material attachment. He does not need prescribed duties for purification. Still, one acts setting the example for those who are less knowledgeable. Because what happens is, if I understand the philosophy that I don't have to perform this other yajna, then I can say, oh, I don't have to do that. And I will do whatever other thing. But rest of the praja or rest of the people who are people around us, they feel, why is this person doing like that? I should also do like that. That's the problem. Because everyone is at different level. So for others, I want to set up an example. So for an example, let's take an example about Krishna. So Krishna says, I'm Supreme Personality of God. He is God himself. Does he need a guru? He doesn't need a guru because he is God. But he takes the guru. Sandipani Muni is his guru. He went to Gurukul and learned from him. Why? to set up an example. Because if I don't have a guru, for an example, today I say someone don't smoke, but I have a cigarette pocket in my hand. I have a cigarette box in my pocket. People will say, "Hey, you don't follow, why are you teaching me about this thing?" And this is very important, that when we become an example, even though I do not have to do that, but being following that example is what is pleasing to Krishna more than anything else. Same with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came as a devotee of Krishna. Now this is very important. As a devotee of Krishna, can I say I am Krishna? I cannot say that, because I am in a different mood now. I am in a different role now. So when you get into that role, you are behaving like that person to set up an example how the devotee has to behave. And you see in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also took the guru. Why did he has to take the guru? Again, same principle, to set up an example. So now one question happens in Bhagavad Gita, especially when we see Mahabharata. There are a lot of incidents in Mahabharata which are confusing to people. I gave one example the other day, which is Karna. How was he killed? How was Karna killed? You know about that one? He was unarmed. He was trying to get his wheel out because it was stuck. And at the time, Krishna asked Arjuna to shoot an arrow to Karna. And I spoke about this example some time back. Karna said, "You can't shoot the arrow. This is adharma." And then Krishna pitched in. Oh, really? This is adharma? When Arjuna's son was there alone fighting in the Chakravyuh, he was unarmed. You were the first one to poke him behind. Where was your dharma at that time? We don't discuss these things often. We don't hear these details about that thing. Or when he was asking Draupadi, who is actually a woman, and woman has to be highly respected during even that time, what to talk about now. So when she was being pulled in, and actually see from the background, Karna is the eldest brother of all Pandavas. We know that story. Which means she is actually your family Bahu, the wife. You're supposed to take care of her. But he was insulting him that this is the right thing which is happening. Where was Rama at that time? This is very important principle. So though Krishna, Shri Radha Gopi Janal Bhagwan ki jai, Nitai Pati Tapana Gaurari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So though apparently Krishna is saying this here, saying that where was your dharma, and now he is shooting. So apparently from this perspective, he asked to kill him while he is without weapon. The second aspect which happened is Krishna said, "I will not pick up a weapon." But when it came to an opportunity where Bhishma Pitama is fighting with Arjuna, and that's the first time in the whole war, Arjuna has a sweat on his face, first time. And Krishna sees that, just the sweat. Krishna picks up the wheel of the chariot and started gushing towards Bhishma Pitama. And here he tells him, saying, sorry, I'll just put this in silent. So he tells him, saying that, "You can't do that, my lord. You took a vow that you will not actually fight. You will not take up the weapon." And Krishna says, "Hell with my vow. Because for me, the protection of my devotees is more important than my vow." So this is apparent principle where Krishna broke his own promise. And now we will see in chapter 18 where Krishna tells to Arjuna, "You go and announce to the world that my devotee never perishes." So question is that he is Bhagwan, right? He can tell himself and we will have trust on him. But if you see, if you have a mundane thought process, but Krishna broke his promise there. I don't know whether he will follow his vow or not. You understand where am I coming from? So I need some faith. Yes, Arjuna is stopping him to not go and actually kill Bhishma Pitama. So he tells Arjuna, "You go announce, because people will have more faith on you than me." Because I apparently, from external moral conduct perspective, I broke certain laws, which was applicable at that period of time. So this is very important. When a bhakta, when he's practicing, though he's above the platform of this yajna which has to be performed, but he does it to set up an example, right? So what is the link between section 3 and 4, which is mentioned here? A nishkama karma yogi may conclude, "My prescribed duties are meant to bring material reward. I don't want any material reward, but I do not have any material desire in this life." So for an example, Arjuna is also fighting, Duryodhana is also fighting. What is the result of fighting? So, based on the Kshatriya norm, if you win the war, you lead the kingdom. If you lose, you go to heavens. So, which means there is a reward. So, what should I do? Should I fight or I shouldn't fight? Because I don't want a reward. But it is all about the internal attitude. If I have a desire that I want to gain this, then that's a problem. But if I don't have a desire, whatever fruits come in, I'm anyhow going to offer to Krishna. And that is what is being described here. So, but I do not have any material desire in this life, nor do I desire Swargaloka. I don't want to go there. So, what do? I know I am not this body. So, why should I need to perform my prescribed duty? In the following verses, which is 17 to 30, 33, 32, Krishna explains why one is freed from material desire should nevertheless perform his duties. Rather than setting up a wrong example, though I am doing performing the certain material duties, I don't have a desire, but I do it for an example to set up for others to follow. Make sense? Sorry, I took some more time, but this is important. Can we read text 17? I don't have a verse here. Yeah, I have a verse here. यस्त्वात्मा रतिरेव स्यात्
Deva
आत्मतृप्ताश्च मानवः
Atmatripta Nusanvanva
आत्मनि एव च सन्तुष्टास्
Atmane Vya Santushtastasya
तस्य कार्यां न विद्वते.
Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate.
So when we see, we will read text 18 also, because there is a combined translation and purport. We will cover the translation and we will cover the purport. Let's read text 18 as well. Naiva tasya krite nartho
Naivatasya Krite Nartho
न कृतनेहा कश्चन
Nakratena Kastana
न चास्या सर्वभूतेषु
Nachasasya Sarvabhuteshu
कश्चित् अर्थव्यपाश्रयः.
Kaschidhartha Vyapasya.
Beautiful. Can we read the text in translation, please? Sorry. Yeah. For him, there is no duty because I'm self satisfied. Why we perform work? Because there is some expectation. For an example, a lot of people just work even the elder age because they need some engagement. But for a person who is self satisfied, he doesn't have to hanker for things outside because he is satisfied within. But he does it for setting up an example. So when we see on this section, which is performing duty to set example for others, it is mentioned it is better if one performs his duties without fruitive desire or attachments. This is in the power. Sorry. As did King Janaka, as he does Krishna. Gopinath, buddy, please. One should act in this way to set a correct example for others. So Janak Maharaj, who is he? He is the father of Mother Sita. Now you can imagine a person be born as a father of Supreme Personality of Godhead, because she is Shakti, she is not different from Srimati Radharani. He has qualification, but he does it to set up an example. Lord Ramachandra, this is very beautiful. If one has to follow a character, it is recommended to follow Lord Ram. Why? Because for people to understand who are not at the higher dimension is very difficult. Why Krishna marries 16,108 wives? Confusing for people. Why is Krishna not married to Mother Radharani? It's beyond their imagination, because we are at the mundane platform where we think about men and women relationship is just for enjoyment. That's not how it's on the spiritual platform. So that's why Lord Ram, he was only one Patni Vrata. Why he was one Patni Vrata? The sages were in love with Lord Ram. They said, we also want to exchange love with you. He said, when I come as Lord Krishna, you will become my gopis. This is very beautiful. And Lord Chaitanya, when he came, he became a sannyasi. He did not have any connection with the woman. So whatever his associates were there, they were actually gopis. but they were in a man body. Easier to deal when man is dealing. Of course, now that is also manipulated, so don't want to get into that dilution. But there is no confusion there. Very easy to follow. Okay, there is no. That's how that is. So this is for setting up an example, right? So I'm just going to skip 26 and 32, and we will directly go to this section of the slide, which is characteristics of self-realized person acting as a matter of duty. So what you see is on the top is verse 17. What is mentioned about satisfy by the act of Krishna consciousness. KC means Krishna consciousness. So I am self-satisfied. I don't have any external things to do. By act of Krishna consciousness, one is freed from all sins. And we spoke about that concept. When you offer everything to God, which is the result of your activity, what is it? It's you're offering the results of your activity to God that becomes purifying all the acts. So you don't get incursion out of it, which means you do not need to perform yajnas to clear the sin. Why do we have to perform the yajna for devatas? Because the tendency is that I earned my salary, I earned whatever I'm earning, it has to be offered to God. Because whatever we do, for an example, if I'm able to use intelligence, there are devatas who are giving me intelligence. If I'm able to breathe properly, there are devatas who are giving me the breathing. The sun devata is giving me the light and this thing. Without that, I cannot run my brain. So I'm dependent. So I'm supposed to offer the results. If otherwise no, then I'm sinful. But if you are acting in Krishna consciousness, you are offering everything to Krishna, and Krishna is the super boss of all these devatas. So they are also satisfied. Make sense? Now, the third one, which you see, if you act in Krishna consciousness and one is freed from all sins, the eternal constitution position revealed when one free from the sins. So now you are on the platform where you are above all the sinful platform and you are actually a perfected living being who's ready to be going to the spiritual world, but he's living in the material world to set up an example for others to follow. And duties to be performed directed by the Lord. I am not doing my work to satisfy my own senses and my own desires. I'm doing, like in this case, Arjuna, I said, gave an example of Duryodhana is also fighting, Arjuna is also fighting. But the motive is different. Why is Arjuna fighting? And we will see. Right now, Arjuna is not fighting based on the verse we are on or what chapter we are on. Arjuna is listening Bhagavad Gita, but after 18th chapter, Arjuna gets into the war. But now, why is he performing that activity? For the pleasure of Krishna. Why? What is Duryodhana's purpose in fighting? He wants to rule his own kingdom, not his own selfish nature. So that's where the difference lies. The activity may be same, but the intention is what matters, right? So a person who is dutifully doing that, he's not interested in material activities, but he does it for an example. And 18th verse, he has no reason not to perform his duties. Why? Because he is doing it for Krishna and does not depend on either living entity or demigods. Is it yes or no? For an example, let's just cover the next point, which is does not depend on either living entity or demigod. So if I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, do I not need the sun? Do I not need the devatas? So then how does this statement make sense? Am I making sense, the question? The last line says, it does not depend on either living entities or demigod. A person who is Krishna consciousness, right? We just read the 18th word. If you can read the translation of 18th words again, Mataji, we read 17. Can you read the 18th one as well?
A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill the discharge of his responsibilities, nor has he any reason not to perform such duties, nor has he, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being.
So it does not have to depend on living being. So how do we understand that? Do we not need sun god? Like you nodded your hand, I need it. But my understanding is that everything comes by God's grace. Whether I'm getting my sunlight, whether I'm able to breathe, whether I'm able to earn, it is all dependent on Krishna. Can I narrate one beautiful pastime which I was reading yesterday on this thing? There is a very great poet in Gujarat. His name is Narsim Mehta. Have you heard about him? So he was born near Dwarka, and he was the lover of Krishna. He would write poetry in Gujarati language. So he was very poor, very poor. So his wife, don't bring it here, okay? His wife actually, he had a daughter and he had a son, and his wife said, "Our daughter has grown up now. We have to prepare for our marriage. Sorry, did I lose something? Yeah. We have to prepare for our marriage. So do something. But he is so poor, he doesn't have anything. So he is praying to Krishna, my dear Lord, she is your daughter. Why don't you take care of her? Find out some husband for her. It's a very important concept which I'm trying to bring in. What did he say in the words? My dear Lord, she is your daughter. This is your family. It's not a mistake in words. It's the consciousness of this soul which is being highlighted here. What is he saying? Whatever I have is yours, and my life is dependent on you. So please find out a bridegroom, find out a husband for her. Within few days, somebody knocked at the door. A beautiful gentleman, handsome gentleman came there, and he knocked the door. I will keep it here if you bring it here next time. I asked you not to bring in here. So he said, I'm looking for a bridegroom for my marriage. And I heard your daughter has grown up, and I heard that she's a very chaste girl. I want to get married to her. So he smiled. He told his wife, I told you Krishna arranges everything. So they were looking for the astrological chart when to get married. And throughout the entire year, there was no Mahurat. There was one after 4 days. So they agreed we will get her married in next 4 days. His wife said, how are you going to get her married? You don't even have a single penny in your account. What to talk about anything? So he is thinking, what do I do? And he's praying to the Lord. Like, earlier times, people used to put things on the loan, but he doesn't even have a house. What am I going to put on the loan to get her married? His wife said, oh, you know what? We have to invite brahmanas. We have to perform so many activities. Thank you so much. So she said, okay, I have these bangles. You loan them and borrow the loan, and then we'll get her married. He said, okay. So he goes out, takes the bangles, goes to the market, and while he's going there was a Bhagavad Katha going on. So he sat there to hear Bhagavad, and this Bhagavad Katha was for 7 days. So he sat there listening Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. Now remember, his daughter's marriage was in 4 days. So 7 days got over, and they woke him up saying that, not he was sleeping, he was like in ecstasy. He said, so what is the day today? Oh, this is the day today. My daughter's marriage was 3 days before. My wife is going to beat me because there is no Muhurat for the whole year. So he was thinking, my dear Lord, what did you do? You should have actually gave me consciousness to go back. I have to take care of my responsibility. I wanted to get your daughter married. So what do I do now? So they said, okay. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll tell my wife, saying that I went far away to sell these bangles. So it took some time. And when I reached there was nobody to actually take it on loan. So I'm here. So he kept walking, came back singing the bhajans of the Lord. He came back to the village. When he entered to the village, a lot of people would say, wow, what a wonderful marriage. What a wonderful marriage. What a feast he prepared and all that stuff. So Narsimha Mehta asked, whose marriage are you talking about? Are you're talking about your marriage, your daughter's marriage only. My daughter's marriage? What happened? Can you tell me? Because he wasn't there physically, right? So what happened? The marriage was like a daughter of king's marriage. It was such an opulent marriage. They gave so many gifts. They fed prasadam like anything, and we were just mesmerized. We can't even forget that taste even after 3 days. It's such an opulent prasad. Okay. So he's smiling. He was little still nervous. He reached home and his wife was smiling. So he was surprised. I'm going to get the beatings now. What had happened? So he said, my dear husband, the marriage went so fantastic. Everyone was so happy. The daughter was happy. The whole family was happy. The whole villagers, people came from other villages. They were also happy. Seeing the opulence of the marriage, they offered so many things to our daughter and the husband. Oh, really? So what happened? Can you tell me? She was thinking he is here because Lord Krishna was there. So he said, when you went, so there was one black boy came at the age of 12 because Krishna never grows above the year of 12. That's his Kaumara age and he never grows above 12. So he came He brought in all the paraphernalia which is needed for cooking, all vegetables, all wheat and everything. And he brought so many saris, jewelries, everything. And he smiled. And he told his wife, I told you, Krishna, take care of everything. This is very important. When we think about does not depend on either living entity or it's not that the dependence is not there. It's not that I'm being proud that I don't have any dependence. But I'm actually even more humble that because of Krishna's grace, these devatas are offering me these blessings and whatever is happening in my life. And this is what is actually this is actually the example I gave is on the platform of Bhakti Yoga. If you remember that chart which I mentioned, there are two sections in that, right? In the same selflessness, one is the Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. We are of course on Karma Yoga, and the example I gave is the Bhakti Yoga, because here the moksha, the destination is not moksha. I don't want to get out of cycle of birth and death, but I want to be a lover of Krishna, which is much more higher than that. You all are with me? Makes sense? Can we move forward? And
Yes.
any question online? Everyone is with me so far?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Just making sure. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Yeah. So now coming back to the same, why is it already detached Nishkama Karma Yogi expected to perform his duty? This is the section which I want to cover. So Nishkama Karma Yogi may conclude duties are meant to bring material reward, which I briefly covered. But I do not have any material desire in this life, nor do I desire Swargaloka. I know I'm not this body, so why should I need to perform my prescribed duty? In the following verse, which is 17 to 32, Krishna explains why one is freed from material desire, should nevertheless perform his duty. And coming back to the 17 and 18, what is a common theme? The self realized soul is free from all material duties. Right? Yes, one with no material desires and who is already purified has no desire material duties, nor he has any aversion to them, which is very important. It's not that I will not perform those duty. I would do it for the other understanding, right? Makes sense. So, from the purport, what is the practical application of 17 and 18? Hari bol. I'm speaking here. Shastra and Guru assigns one duty according to the one material attachment. One is given activities to fulfill his desires in a regulated way to purify him. The only person free from duties is the self-realized person, because he has no desires to fulfill nor any purification to achieve. So why is Krishna asking Arjuna to go not to go to the forest? Because he wants him to purify his desires, because he had a desire which he wants to purify first and then actually come to the platform now. And that's what the gradual consciousness evolvement is, what Krishna is talking about. Person is on a third grade, he doesn't directly go to the sixth grade, because there is a gradual progress even in material education. Same in spiritual education, there is a gradual progress. Not necessary it has to come from this life only, because I mentioned before the spiritual life continues on life after lifetime. Wherever we finish, we continue from there. So not necessary every time I have to start from chapter 1, because I finished the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, I may directly start on Bhakti Yoga in this lifetime, which does not mean I'm breaking the sequence here. You're with me so far, right? So that's the point. And few more points from the purport. How a Krishna conscious person is free from all other obligation and described duties, save and accept the activities in Krishna consciousness. It is all due to the following reasons. This is very, very important. There are 4 reasons which are, or 5 reasons which are specified. Why does he perform the duty? Krishna consciousness purifies. Due to Krishna consciousness, all impiety within is instantly cleansed. So even if certain residual is remaining of some desire, it will also be clean. Second is fixed in identity. By clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal relationship with the Supreme. So if you remember, when we talk about the moksha and when we talk about attaining the abode of the Lord, if the connection, what is the relationship of me with God is not clear, I may get out of cycle of birth and death, but I will not be able to actually nourish the relationship there. And that's why this is needed. One has to understand what is my relationship and what is my thing. So let me tell you now something which is little higher but in connection to this. For an example, Nitya Mataji, you have a particular job, you have a duty in this role. And in next life, you don't know what is the role you're going to play in case the next life happens, right? Same thing. But we all have an eternal nature in spiritual world. For an example, say you were a data scientist. If you quit the company, someone else joins the position. But when we come from spiritual world, that position is always vacant until I go back and take up that position. You are with me so far? And that is called as our Siddha Nitya Siddha platform, or I forgot the term exactly which I'm saying. So we have an eternal position there. So we came from spiritual world thinking that we want to enjoy separately from material world. So that position is still open. And when we revive our consciousness, we actually go back to that role which we played before, and we will continue enacting in the same role which we did before. You are with me so far? I'll give you an example. Vidur, who is there in Mahabharata, who is he is Dhritarashtra's brother, which is there. But actually, what is his role? He is Yamaraj. And I shared that story how he was cursed to become Vidur. Do you remember that story? The king, correct? Yeah, which is the concept is clear. Now that vacancy is there, right? He was performing that role. Now he is coming as Vidur. So he goes back and takes up his position. You're with me so far. So that is our eternal position, not a temporary position. Right now, whatever name, whatever designation, whatever relationships we have, they are temporary. How do I know? Well, when I die, am I going to meet them? No, definitely not. And that's the biggest challenge people have is losing those relationships. Where will my father go? Where will my wife go? Where will my husband go? Because now you're not never going to meet next. You're not going to meet in the same body. Next life, maybe you will be something else, like a husband becomes a wife and wife becomes a husband, depending on how it is. Don't get into that. But you lost it. But spiritual position is not like that. Makes sense? That's an eternal position. Once we receive, we stay there.
So we talk about this relationships as all materialistic or bodily aspects, right?
Yes.
All the relationships. So suppose there are no relationships, then why there is so much emphasis on this what they call Kikudoka, right? Like if you haven't offered anything to your ancestors, that kind of
Very good. Very good.
So once you, for instance, somebody that life back would have been a father, and now later on in another life, he is a father of somebody else. Like, I'm from a.
Can you keep these guys quiet? Can you take them out? Thank you.
I'm just saying about
Very 100%. Very good question. I want to repeat the question here because they may not be able to hear. So, Supraja Madhuri is asking a question. If the soul, which is eternal in nature, doesn't have any relationship, so then why do we offer Pitru Dosha or any of those activities? Did I put it correctly? Now this is very important. Though the soul doesn't have, actually soul also has relationship, but the soul has relationship with God. I want to clarify that part. So that just a small correction on that. However, again, that is eternal. Haribol, Haribol, Gopinath, Gopinath, please. So soul doesn't have any relationships, right? However, soul is in the body. At the end of the day, soul to exchange some messages, I need a communication medium. So I have. So there are relationship with the body. Are they illusion or are they temporary? They are not illusion, right? For an example, your husband is a husband. It's not that he is not a husband, right? The relationships are there. They are illusion, but they are temporary. So now, though I'm in that relationship, there is some exchange of help, exchange of some responsibility which we do. Now, when that person leaves, what is the real nature of the soul? He is compassionate on everyone. So now that person who left, like my father left or someone's father left, so that person left. Now that compassionate nature is there, which has to be applied to every living entity, not just only my father. Am I making sense so far? Which means I should be offering Pitru, whatever, is to all the fathers actually. What to talk about only my father, right? But at least from that perspective, offer to my father because he has given me this body. right? So now, yes, his life. So as in gratitude, I want to follow the rules and regulations which are mentioned in Shastra as the medium to do that, being an example for others to follow. Coming back to this point. So not that if I'm a devotee, I will not follow anything. Why do I have to work? Why do I have to do this? Oh, I know I'm not the body, I'm the soul. That is wrong. You're with me so far? A person who is Krishna consciousness is much more gentleman or gentlewoman than anybody else. Every dealing, every activity has to be meticulously done. Whether Arjuna is fighting. Now Arjuna do I has to fight? Are finish karna. Krishna, we will read. Krishna said, I already killed them. Why Arjuna is involved here? Why he has to do that stuff? You're with me so far? He's doing his duty and best of his capacity. Not that, oh, I will do a half-hearted job. This is not my job anymore. This is material duty. This is not spiritual duty. One should not use the spirituality as a medium to be dull-headed or spirituality as a medium to be inefficient. That's the point which I'm trying to bring in. Everything you do, which are mentioned in scripture, perfectly. So even in this case, he is not my father or he is not mother, but in a way, from soul's perspective, I'm still connected with everyone. And as a compassionate soul, I should do that. And on top of it, whatever you are able to achieve because of the body given by mother and father, who gives body, mother and father, you all accept it. Of course, it comes from material nature, but they are the source. So I have the obligation to do that. And I do that as an example for that, not that to check box. You're with me so far? Makes sense, Madhaji? Very nice question though. And then loses all material interest. Such a person is no longer interested in material activities, which does not mean he does not do it. This is the third one, right, Madhaji? No longer takes pleasure in material elements like wine and similar infatuation. Na teshu ramate buddha. This is very important characteristic, very difficult to achieve. I am myself not at that platform, so I can't speak. This is the theoretical knowledge I'm speaking. Please forgive me about that. But one who has complete connection with Krishna, like I gave an example of Narsimha, you can't copy this, what he did. You can't actually imagine what a person can actually do that. But Krishna reciprocates with such souls. And that's an important aspect. So many examples on that part, right? And the last one, free from all obligation. Krishna consciousness man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod, thus free from all obligation. Na kinkaro nayam rini cha rajan. But he does it to set up an. But he doesn't have to do that. Make sense? All clear? I missed that. Then one becomes self-illuminated by the grace of the Lord. Jnana deepena basvata dadami buddhi yogam. Now, when we talk about self-illumination, there are two aspects of self-illumination. One of the self-illumination from the yogi's perspective is that you see they look different. Not that they look different or there is an aura coming out of their body. Yeah, and you see their bhakti is so intense, you see that, and their presence makes you feel that even if you can't see it, the moment you come in their presence, certain things happen. Like for an example, on higher spiritual platform, and a person is practicing bhakti at a very high platform, no, even when you just be with them or just hear them, it transforms your heart. Srila Prabhupada, when he came to America, they were all hippies. And just to be clarify, what does this hippie do? For them, there are no rules and regulations. They don't want any controls. They don't want any rules to be set up. Everything I'll do based on whatever I desire. Those people coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada, what to talk about leaving illicit sex, thinking all ganja and all this stuff. They left even tea and coffee. America runs on beef and chicken. They left that. These are all Americans. Wearing dhoti kurta, waking up every day at 3 a.m., performing morning mangala 4:30. Isn't it a miracle? How is that possible? Is that because of them? You could say that, oh, how is that possible? They did not do so far. How is that possible? Because of coming in association of the self-illuminated devotee. whose heart is so purified. He has the power to actually transform the whole universe. There is, I'll find out if I find out, there is a newspaper article when Prabhupada was there in America. Krishna consciousness was spreading like a wildfire. And it was predicted it will go even take a government. Huge, huge, massive number of people coming for Rath Yatras, so many this thing, taking Krishna consciousness so easily. And most important part, Prabhupada was asked, what is your contribution? Can you show me mystic yoga? Can you show me some siddhis like people can fly in sky and all that? Prabhupada said, my only miracle is I made hippies into happies. Because now they have a joy of their soul. And this is the true quality of leader, is to replicate himself multiple times. That is what they call a leader. So he created the replicas for others to follow. I just have a friend whose 50th birthday is there, and with that we will end. There are so many sannyasis, all wide body. They speak about him, saying that bless him actually on that perspective. This is amazing actually. And that's what you see. When you want to see whether this, how would you know that whether this college is authentic or not? Based on the outcome of that college, that one person comes out, what is the position they get in? Oh, this guy went to, that's how they advertise. Oh, our guy got 50 lakhs, at least in India, I'm saying. I don't know about here. I haven't studied here, but oh, this college is proposed like this guy got a job in AWS, this guy got a job in Google and all that stuff. I don't know even the name of that university, but outcome is that, great, then I want to join that university. Similar thing, any success of any process is, what is the outcome? What kind of people it generates? That's why I just keep repeating that the world does not need the philosophy. The world need an example to follow. This is the meaning of self-illumination, which makes the person a gentleman. With that last one example, sorry, it just came to my mind. Ratnakar, we know who is actually became Valmiki, who wrote Ramayana. Who was Ratnakar? He was a hunter. He was a hunter. He would actually kill animals half dead. Narada Muni came and he showed him what is the implication of whatever activities you are doing. A future live telecast. And he saw the same animals are taking and killing him in every life. Narada Muni has the ability to show that. But I am doing it for my family because I have to earn their livelihood. Okay, you go and ask your family, will they take the sin? Yeah, I'll go. He went back home. My dear wife, my dear kids, you know what, to maintain you, I'm working like hard and I'm killing. Will you share my karma? Of course not. That is your responsibility. So this guy, what am I doing? I did so much, and what is the result? He went to Narad Muni. I understood. What should I do? He said, break your bow. Now, for an example, if you're a doctor, I'll tell you, just tear apart your doctor degree and stop doing that. Will you do it? I don't know. I need a backup option. Like someone says, join Krishna conscious full time. Leave everything. Will you do? No. I don't know whether what will happen. This guy had a faith. He broke his bow. He said, tell me, what do I do? He said, chant the name of Ram. He couldn't chant the name of Ram. We chant after every class. Can you chant Ram? We all can chant Ram. Imagine how sinful that person was. He couldn't even chant the name of Ram. And there are people in this world also who cannot chant the name of Ram and Krishna. I've seen it. Because the sinful life is so strong, they cannot actually chant the name of Ram. So what did he tell him? You chant Mara, 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 Mara. Imagine this person became Valmiki Muni. He wrote Ramayana. Not just wrote Ramayana, he saw Lord Ram face to face. Then only he can write. This is called a self-illumination. Process works. What is the outcome? It's not a philosophy which I'm speaking you here and then leave it. Crash course, you take it or give it back. It doesn't work that way. It's the transformation which cannot be reversed, because now the person has changed. Another example is Mrigrari. He was killing, and when after he became a disciple, again Narada Muni only. So many examples of Srila Narada Muni. So this person was killing animals. While walking, he's saying, if I'm not putting my hand on the ants, he's moving the ants with the chadar so that he can offer pranam to his guru. Transformation of the heart. This is actually practicing Krishna consciousness. This is means practicing bhakti. This is meaning practicing spirituality. Not that when I come to the temple, I behave in a X way, when I go home, I behave in a Y way. It's not how it works. That X person, when he goes to work, even the people are opposite. He will transform them and convert them. With that, sorry, I went 7 minutes over time. So please forgive me. Any comments online?
Very nice presentation, Prabhuji.
Sorry, you were not able to hear initially, and I did not know how to help because I am in the